Yeah, it was definitely therapeutic for me. If anything was going on at home or if anything happened at school, I could draw and just not think about that. Not just think about this person that I'm drawing, this made up person.
Since day one, you've been such a hard worker. I've never seen you in a bad mood. Like, you always have a great attitude. You never complain. And you just you're constantly pushing yourself to be better and better. Did you ever have a moment where tattooing became something that was actually achievable for you?
When I started my apprenticeship, I was this is what I want to do. I knew instantly that this was the right path. And I was I don't know how I'm going to get there, but one day I'm going to be as good as someone like Deanna.
What's up, guys? Colton and Deanna here for another episode of the Eden BAS Pod.
I'm really excited to interview Monica Snyder. She's one of our first artists that applied to our studio, and let's get to know her a little bit.
Yeah, she's an awesome artist and an even better person, so check her out on Instagram if you haven't already, at Monica Snyder _tattoos.
Yeah.
What about profanities?
Oh, be profane.
Okay, cool.
Be yourself.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, this is a PG-13 podcast, so we get one F word.
One F word.
Yeah. You ever notice that in PG-13 movies, you can say the F word once?
That's weird.
Yeah.
I feel like if you can say it once, why can't you?
I don't know. You don't want those 13-year-olds getting exposed to multiple F words. So we got to use it good.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. You can say it as much as you want. But yeah, after The Boys, I'm telling everybody this. So I'm going to tell you too, you need to watch Severance, because we just finished that and it was amazing.
Is it on Prime?
It's on Apple TV Plus.
It's really good.
Which is a really good streaming service. Yeah.
What's the show about?
Work-life balance.
Yeah.
Oh.
I won't give away too much, but it's about basically, I won't give anything away because if you go on Apple TV, you can see what the plot is. But basically, it's got Adam Scott in it. Have you seen Parks and Rec? So he's the dude from Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I know.
But it's a serious show, and it's about this work program where the employees agree to have their memories totally independent from at work than at home. So they basically show up at work and they don't remember anything. They don't know anything about themselves, and then they go home and they have no idea what they do at work during the day. So
wow,
it's pretty interesting. And then stuff gets mysterious, and then other stuff happens. But that's not giving away too much. But you should watch it. It's really good. We just finished it.
It's very good.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Black Mirror-ish.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you like Black Mirror?
I never really watched it.
Yeah.
It's that's Twilight Zone sort of thing.
Yeah.
But, right?
Black Mirror is a little bit too heavy for me, though. This
wasn't as icky feeling like Black Mirror gave me, but it's just kind of that crazy concept in a weird universe.
Yeah, but not too many overly bad things happen, really. So that's good.
I mean, I don't mind that.
Oh, I do.
Oh.
I don't like when bad stuff happens. I don't like scary movies either. That's why I just watch comedies all the time. I just rewatch The Office all the time. And for me too, TV is supposed to be well, I guess except The Boys, because I've seen The Boys. But TV is supposed to be a leisure activity, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't want something that's gonna get my blood boiling the whole time. I tried to watch Breaking Bad, and I know it's a fantastic show. I know it's amazing.
I couldn't finish it. I didn't like it.
Really? You didn't like it? Why?
It was mostly just the main character. What's his name?
Walter White. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a dick.
Yeah. Meth will do that to you. That's a lesson for the kids.
I was going to recommend Ozark if y'all haven't watched that.
Oh, my parents just finished it. They said it was really good.
Yeah,
doesn't that have
Jason Bateman?
Yeah, the dude from Arrested Development.
I love him.
That's how I know him.
Yeah. I've been finishing Outlander again.
I heard that one was good too.
And it's so good.
Yeah. You watch It's Always Sunny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's another one. Not that bad things happen in that show, but the characters are just so bad. I just can't get behind it. And there's no character development either.
No.
You know, like Schitt's Creek. That's the characters start out bad, but as you watch it more, they become good humans. Yeah. So that's a little bit more wholesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's enough about TV. And we still got our F-bomb, so we're doing good. We're going to get your whole life story and everything like that, but I kind of want to like jump out of order. So I want to talk because, so you've been with us since the beginning, like you've been with us since the shop opened, almost one of the first artists we hired. So when I think of you, I think of like how much you've grown since we opened. And so I wanted to talk about like, could you kind of explain like, just as a, not as an art perspective, but even just from like general life, can you explain like where you were like before you started with us compared to now?
Like just in life in general too?
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah. And art. Yeah.
I mean, before I was with you guys, I feel like my art was beginning to get like a little better. But I was not in the best place mentally, probably. And I feel like after like I got hired with you guys, I don't know. I started working on like mental health a lot more.
Yeah.
And I feel like doing that really helped with like the progression. I don't know if that really answers the question or not, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, do you want to talk about your mental health struggles a little bit? Because to be honest, I mean, I know everybody goes through mental health struggles, but you just always seem like positive all the time. So like, I'm sure that you're not feeling that way always, but do you want to, can you talk about that a little bit more? Cause I've never really heard that.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get into like too much of
That's
it,
fine.
but like, I feel like my career at the time before I got hired with you guys, like, I feel like that was a big part of it. Like, I don't know that like, I mean, I guess I was getting better because I did get hired by you guys, but I also just like in the back of my brain just felt like I was going nowhere with tattooing and just didn't feel like I was doing the right things. And that played a big role in it. Yeah. And then I feel like also too, like in like the street shop sort of environment, you can be there like a really long time throughout the day.
Yeah.
And just have like, it can be an unsteady work schedule, which for me, I have to have a routine. And if I don't have a routine,
Yeah,
then,
I've noticed
like,
that about
I
you.
am just like,
Yeah.
I don't do well. And
Yeah.
so like that was like a really big thing, a really big reason why my mental health was not doing as well. So
Yeah. So that's, I mean, that's one thing that you've talked a little bit about before is I think you said you maybe would tattoo like a few days a week, like before you started with us. And we just talked about it with Gio last week, but it's hard too to get better when you're doing something like 2 to 3 times a week as opposed to like every day.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So now how far are you? Are you working every day or?
Yeah. Yeah. Every day. It's really nice. It feels good to be able to come in and tattoo every single day, and not just tattoo, but like getting to do stuff that I want to do. Yeah. It's really nice.
Yeah. That's amazing. And it's tough to get to that point, honestly. And yeah, you're booking for like, you're just about booked for July. So that's what, a little bit over 2 months now. So yeah, you're booking out a couple months and you're doing like, yeah, like you said, pretty much all stuff that you want to do, which is really cool. What about your living situation?
Like currently or
versus when you started to now.
Okay. So, I was lucky enough to have, my dad. I lived with him and my little brother.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have to pay rent, which I wouldn't have been able to anyway with the amount of money I was making at the time. So I was living with my dad and my little brother in this little apartment they had. And then very, very shortly after I got hired with you guys, I was lucky enough to be making enough money that I could move out on my own. And so now I live in my own 1-bedroom apartment with my kitties.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it feels nice.
But it's your second place now, right? Since
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you excited about it's an upgrade, isn't it?
Yes, it's very nice. Like, I love my kitchen. It's so big, and I can use all the burners on my stove all at once.
Could you not before?
I could only use one burner on my
Really?
Wow.
stove. Yeah. Yeah, and the cats love it. They have more space.
So
That's
they
all.
just had one burner, so you can to choose what location you can cook on.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Wait, what?
A little over to the left or the right.
So like one of the front burners was like up off of the things, like and then the back too. I was just really scared to use them, so I just used the front one.
Oh man.
But this one's much nicer. Yeah, the cats love it, and that's all that matters, right?
And so it's bigger.
Yeah.
Does it have like nice amenities? Like, do you go to the gym there or anything?
Yes. It's got a 24-hour gym. I'm going to go to the gym actually after I'm done here. And then
When do you sleep?
I go to bed never. No, I usually go to bed around like 1 or 2, and I get up at like 10:30.
Yeah.
So that's like a
late
solid,
right now, though.
It's like a solid 8 hours, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fine if your schedule is just shifted back a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you're still getting your sleep.
Yeah. I always get my sleep for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Well, Monica, I really feel like I don't know like too much about you. So I'm really excited to kind of get to know more about you, about your life, how you got into tattooing, your childhood dreams, all of that. But yeah, I guess like before you came to the shop, how was your life growing up? How was your childhood? You know, did you draw at all?
Yeah. I always doodled when I was a kid. Like my mom, she was a teacher, and I would be stuck with her at school sometimes, and I would draw and doodle things for her.
Oh, nice.
You were that kid, the teacher's kid.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Nice.
But I was like really little when I was doing that, like 4 or 5, and then I got serious about art, I guess, when I was like 13 or 14. Started like taking art classes in school and just drawing because I genuinely wanted to. And my parents, they have quite a bit of tattoos, and that's actually what inspired me to become a tattoo artist, was seeing art on people's on my parents' bodies, and thinking like, I could put something like this on someone forever.
What kind of stuff did you draw?
Portraits. People. That's what I really like to draw. Yeah. Lots of people.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, which kind of translates to what you do now.
Yeah.
I mean, you do a lot of portraits now.
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about portraits that you like?
Like, what do you mean?
Like what did you like about doing portraits? and
Oh, I see what you're
people
saying.
and-
I don't know. It's just always what I wanted to draw. There wasn't anything specifically, I guess, that drew me to people, but I just always really enjoyed drawing people and the different features. There's like so many different ways you can draw a person. It's really cool.
Do you ever I know I find myself doing this a lot too. Do you ever kind of stare at someone when they're talking and kind of examine their face a little bit, their shadows and stuff?
Yeah, I do. I try not to be weird about it, but sometimes
Like it's just awkwardly
sometimes
staring
it just
for-
happens.
What was Bobby saying about the supermarket during his seminar? Is that am I making this up? But I feel like maybe it wasn't Bobby, but it was like somebody talking about just like being anywhere, just like being in the supermarket and just like looking at the way like light and shadows hit people's faces and
That
stuff
could have
like
been
that.
Bobby.
And
I
like,
feel like I remember something like him saying something like that.
yeah, which is crazy to me because I've never, I don't look at faces in like an analytical way like that.
But it's cool because, like, depending on what you do is how you see the world. I think that's really interesting. Whether you're an artist,
yeah.
you look at people and their face and the shapes. If you're a musician, you'll notice in a grocery store, you'll notice, you know, the music that's playing, you know, more so than maybe like the colors in the room. And
Yeah. Or me, I think, how does this place make money? Or how do they not make money? You know?
Yeah. I noticed that too with you, Colton, is when we're at a place or, you know, that's sort of like on your mind as a, you know, someone who's business oriented and analytical. You want to know how people are successful. So it's interesting.
Yeah. And I've noticed like sometimes, Danny, you'll ask me like, what, like, we'll see somebody on TV that we both agree is attractive or something. You're like, what about them makes them attractive? I'm like, I don't know.
Like, I'm just curious, like, do you know, like, what about this guy is like a handsome dude? Like, you know,
Yeah,
is it his
actually,
nose,
it's
is it
actually
his jawline?
it's actually all dudes. I just look
It
at
is.
dudes on TV. I proclaim whether they're attractive or ugly.
Yeah. And I'm always curious. I was like, do you know, like, what makes someone like attractive to you? And, but
But did you have any like training drawing portraits, or you just kind of like figured it out?
I mean, I started just doing it on my own at home, but then, I mean, I took basic art classes in middle school, and then took my basic art classes in high school, and learned a little bit about like proportions and how it's supposed to be. And then I was lucky enough to get into couple of honors art classes in high school, and that's when I like really got into learning about the proportions and where
Like
things
anatomy
go.
and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And so then in college too, I had to take art classes again because unfortunately the college credit that I earned in high school didn't transfer over, so I had to redo it. But anyway, I took a figure drawing class that was really cool, like where you have like the nude model come in and pose and stuff.
it's like the best way to learn.
Yeah. What medium were you using primarily when you were drawing? Like pencil?
Mostly pencil and soft pastels is what I really like. But I also dabbled in like acrylic paint too when I was younger, but mostly pencil.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you said you got serious about art like 13, 14. I guess that would have been like middle school when you were taking art classes.
Yeah.
And then
Was it something that was also, I mean, you describe mental health struggles and, things you've been through. And I feel like a lot of artists kind of like, I don't know, they go through some type of mental struggles here and there. Was it therapeutic, especially as a 13, 14-year-old when a lot of us are, kind of finding our way through life?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was definitely therapeutic for me. Like, if anything was going on at home or if anything happened at school, I could draw and just not think about that. And I just think about this person that I'm drawing, this made up person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, super therapeutic.
Well, so was it like made up people most of the time, or so you would, or would you draw actual people?
It would just depend on if I had a reference or not. But when I first started, it was definitely like out of my head, like in awful drawings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You said it was bad.
really bad.
I couldn't do that, but maybe if I did it, it would just also be bad. But well, that's interesting. That's a question that I have, like for both of you, kind of is, Deanna, when you were talking about art being, or both of you were talking about art being like not an escape, but something to like definitely better your mental health. How do you like deal with that as a career? Because like I feel like it's different when it becomes your work instead of a hobby. How do you?
Sure. Yeah.
Does it still put you in a good headspace when you're creating or tattooing? Or
I am dead inside. I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, I mean, but what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like when I do a cool tattoo at the end of the day, like I feel great. It feels awesome. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. For me, tattooing, it's like, it can be such a rush sometimes, I don't know, especially like when I did my first tattoo. Oh my God. It was like such an adrenaline rush.
What'd you do first?
It was a little like symbol for strength that I did on this girl's wrist.
Like a bicep emoji.
But yeah, it definitely for me helps still with like mental health.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's almost like you have to find a line too, because you don't want to base your whole self-worth off of how good your tattoo is. And if you're not posting enough, and I think it plays so much with our mental health, that sometimes we can depend on it a little too much to be happy.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, because sometimes we do our best to do like cool tattoos every day, but there's still tattoos you do that's like, oh, this is a nice tattoo, but like maybe not so much like is going on with your social media at the time, or maybe people didn't like this tattoo as much as you thought they were, and still having to tell yourself that like it's okay, you're still doing the right thing, like you're good at what you do.
Yeah. And then you talk about you mentioned severance earlier with a work-life balance, but also like when you see the world in the lens of what you do, like I don't know if you can ever like get away from it. I'm sure you guys are thinking about art all the time, just like I'm thinking about, business all the time. Yeah,
it's true. Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm always staring at my tattoos until I hate them.
Yeah.
And want to know how I could do better.
Yeah.
But so I'm glad though. It's nice just hearing that artists, we all kind of have a similar thing where we're just trying our best, and we all are a little sad, and we all get a little anxious, and art really helps us. So it's cool to know that that's also helped you.
Yeah, it's nice to hear it from you too.
Yeah, definitely ups and downs.
So going back to your career path, so you say you started taking like honors art classes in high school. Is that in what high school, by the way?
West Mesquite High School.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And when did you decide that you knew that you wanted to do like art or tattooing or?
Well, I mean, being a tattoo artist was something I've wanted to do since I was really young. It was around that time that, like, I think I was maybe 14 or 15. Like, I had just gotten into art. And then my parents, like I said, they had a lot of tattoos. And I was like, I want to do this. Yeah. But, like, I always saw it as, like, just a dream that would never happen. Because, I don't know, at the time, especially as a young kid, it seemed really intimidating. Like, I could never be like these cool people that do tattoos. And I was still going to go into the art as like a career thing though. Yeah. Like that's why I did animation as a degree. So art was always something I knew I was going to do. Yeah. I didn't necessarily know that I was going to become a tattoo artist until I actually finished with my degree. So. Sure.
And when you were a kid, were you exposed to like good tattoos or just like regular tattoos?
My parents, they just had regular, tattoos. They didn't have anything like to the scale of like what Deanna, her tattoos are. But they, they were okay little tattoos. Yeah,
not that I'm sorry, when I say good, I don't know, like realism. Like, were you exposed to like realism when you were a kid or?
No. Yeah. No, not really at all.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't even, middle school would have been like probably like 13 years ago for you. 13, 14
like
years. So yeah.
2007, 2008.
Realism was hardly a thing. It was just, you got to see good tattoos in magazines and websites.
Yeah, or like online. Miami Ink. Yeah. I think that was a TV show at the time, maybe.
TV shows, that's right. Yeah. Who were your first inspirations when you first got into tattooing? Who did you look up to?
You. You're one of the major ones for sure.
Oh my God.
And Nico Hurtado.
Yes.
For sure. Zach Singer. There were a lot, but like here in Dallas, like you and Zach and Jay Jury, like I like idolized all you guys, and that was like I was like, one day I'm gonna be like cool like these guys.
You're way cooler. That's super awesome. That's humbling to hear too. That's really cool.
So you said you went to school for animation?
Yeah. Yeah. 3D animation. I wasn't good at it. Yeah.
Why do you say that?
I just, I knew that my skills weren't good enough that I wouldn't have been able to go into the industry. Like if I wanted to do that, I would have gone back for my master's, and I just wasn't about that life.
Yeah. And where'd you go to school?
UTD. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah. So why did you choose animation to go into?
My mom went with me on a tour sort of
visit,
thing. Yeah. And the arts and technology program did some sort of like, the projector show thing just to show what the degree was about. And I was like, this seems logical. Let's do this. Maybe I can get a job with this. Because I never saw like majoring in fine art, like as bad as this sounds, like I didn't think that I would be able to make money.
That doesn't sound bad at all. That's perfectly valid. Yeah, it's
I always
really
said
hard.
as a fine artist, you make money when you're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in hindsight, if I had known that I was going to become a tattoo artist, I definitely would have gotten a fine art degree.
That's kind of the one way to make good money as a fine artist is tattooing.
Yeah.
Unless you're like, really popular, but you didn't really want to do like 3D animation. It was just kind of like you picked it because it was practical.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And did you find out pretty quickly you didn't like it, or?
I mean, I liked it. I just knew that I wasn't skillful in it. Yeah, I did like it though.
Gotcha.
It's just, very tedious and time consuming. And
it takes a long time to do a short amount of thing.
Yeah. And I can say honestly that I didn't put in like the amount of effort that I put into tattooing. Like I did not put that effort in to animation.
Well, it's hard when you're not like passionate about something.
Yeah.
It's to be able to put that much work in, you almost like have to enjoy it. It's got to get to the point where it doesn't really feel like work,
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you decide like that you weren't going to do that as a career?
It was probably during my last.
It was at a four-year degree.
I did it in 3 though.
Okay. You couldn't have been that bad.
But yeah, it was like sometime during my last year and a half. I was like, well, it's getting towards the end here, folks. We gotta.
I'm still not good at this.
Yeah, we gotta figure something out. So I decided that I could maybe become a teacher and teach animation to like high school kids or something like that. But
those who can't do, teach.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, that is funny. But did you end up teaching?
No, I actually met my ex-boss during my last semester of that degree.
Your boss for
your
apprenticeship?
Okay. And so I decided that I would just finish out my animation degree, and if it didn't work out with the apprenticeship, I would go back and do what I planned to do, which was get teacher certification.
Yeah, and I guess you worked like different jobs when you were in high school, because I remember you like managed a vape shop or something like that.
Yeah, that was in college.
Not high school.
Yeah.
College.
Yeah, that's actually where I met him. He came in as a customer at the vape shop, and we just got to talking. And I showed him my portfolio, and he was like, just hang out. And I just basically kept coming back. And eventually my mentor, James, started teaching me. Yeah.
Wait. So how did you guys get to talking? How did it get to the point where you pulled out your portfolio? Yeah, tell us more about that.
Well, okay. So he came as a customer, and he told me that he owned this tattoo shop, and like gave me his card and everything. And then I was like, I don't want to be a teacher. I want to be a tattoo artist. And
did he give you your card as for like an apprenticeship, or for just like get tattooed?
Well, both. I think I had asked him about an apprenticeship when he was in there, along with getting some work done. So I messaged him. I was like, hey, I want to show you my portfolio. Yeah. And he actually came back to the vape shop and looked at my portfolio, which is very strange. Like most of the time they'll be like, no, come to the shop. But he actually, he put forth he actually put forth the effort to like come to the vape shop and look at it. And yeah, then he said to come, he liked my portfolio and said to come hang out at the shop. And I kept hanging out at the shop. And the guy that I'm talking about, Dutch, he was the owner. So he, tattooed a lot and he worked a lot. Yeah. And yeah, I kept hanging out at the shop. And my mentor, James, he worked there at the time. Yeah. And he is actually the one who started teaching me. Yeah, I got super lucky because I feel like in this industry you can find people that really take advantage of you
Yeah.
as especially as a female tattooer, trying to be an apprentice or whatever. But like James and Dutch, they were always super respectful, and
Yeah, good.
James really genuinely cared about my like upbringing as a tattooer.
Yeah, I still see him comment on your stuff. It seems like he's just super stoked about what you're doing.
Yeah, he's super supportive. Yeah.
That's great. Honestly, it's becoming better, but it's also rare sometimes to see shop owners and mentors really like stay true and proud of their people as they move on.
Yeah. That's tough. But it's always nice when you're able to move on and people like legit want the best for you, sort of thing. But it doesn't always happen. Yeah. But what was your portfolio at the time? Was it a bunch of portraits?
Bunch of portraits. Yeah. Like if I were to look at all of them now, I would probably just like put my head down. But yeah, just a bunch of portraits in different mediums. Also a lot of figure drawings that I did from that figure drawing class in college. But yeah, nothing tattoo related or related to the tattoos that they did. It was all realism.
Yeah. Faces and weens.
And boobs.
And boobs, yeah.
So at the time, did you like have an idea of what an apprenticeship was, or were you just like, I just want a tattoo?
Yeah, I think I definitely went in about it like the wrong way. Obviously, in hindsight, I would have done it a lot differently.
I mean, it worked out for you.
It worked out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah.
But I lost my train of thought. What was the original question?
Yeah, did you know like what an apprenticeship was? Oh,
yeah. So I generally knew the idea. Like you do the grunt work of cleaning, you draw.
Yeah.
I mean, but that was about it. And when I was doing the whole hanging out thing, like it was really weird. Like you're just this person that's like lingering in the shop.
So you would really just go there to hang out?
That was it, yeah. And that the way I understood it, he was telling me, to just hang out. And I wasn't sure if I should like keep hanging out and like lingering in this person's business. But there is another artist there who her name is Krista. And this actually, what she said genuinely is what made me keep coming back. Because that's what she said, keep coming back. Because if you don't, like, nothing's going to happen. But if they see that you're keep coming back and you're dedicated, someone will start teaching you. And I was like, all right. And so I did it. I just kept coming back. Like whenever I wasn't at school or working, I was at the tattoo shop.
Were you like working at the tattoo shop or literally just hanging out?
At the time, just hanging out. I would take trash out every now and again, but no one gave me any direction as to what they wanted me to do until.
So you would just like just show up and just.
I would like watch them tattoo.
Oh, okay.
And stuff like that. Mostly just watching them tattoo in the beginning,
Gotcha.
And then after James saw that I, was like I kept coming back, he was like, "All right, like I'll start teaching you," and he gave me like a list of things to do and. Yeah.
Like a list of things to draw.
A list of things to draw, or well, not necessarily a list of things to draw, but he would give me different assignments. And like, I had my daily chores, weekly chores,
Gotcha.
And shit like that.
Gotcha.
How long total did you have to do that for? Like how long was your apprenticeship?
It was about a year and a half.
Okay.
I started at the beginning of 2017, and I think James said that I graduated it's like August of 2018.
So when did you do your first tattoo? That was such a rush.
The wrist, the strength.
I think it was like, it wasn't too long after I started, maybe about 6 months into that.
Really? Okay. Yeah, that's pretty quick.
Nice.
Yeah. Not the way that, how you do it. Like I did like, I think 2 tattoos on fake skin, and then they were like, just go to real people.
Damn.
Yeah. So I wish I had, gotten a little more practice, of course, but it all happened the way it was supposed to happen.
Yeah. I mean, that definitely worked out for you.
Yeah.
So I guess at the beginning you were when did you start to do portraits? Or it was probably just
That's something I had
random
to.
stuff.
That's something I had to teach myself.
Yeah, there wasn't anyone in that shop who really does them, right?
No, yeah, there wasn't anyone that.
Because James definitely doesn't.
No, James doesn't do portraits or realism really. So I think the first, or no, when I was at Infinity 13, I think I did a couple like realistic objects or like animals, but I hadn't done a person yet. And then I got to the next shop that I was working at, and I just kept doing small realistic tattoos, and eventually got to a point where I was like, I think I can maybe do a decent like portrait, like recognizable portrait. Because I had done like portraits of random people, like how we'll do like random lady faces, you know.
Yeah.
But I felt like that wasn't as high pressure because you're
That's
not
a little
trying to
bit
make
easier,
it.
yeah.
You're not trying to make it look like a specific person. But
Yeah.
I eventually got to a point where I was like, I'm gonna do this Thomas Shelby portrait from Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
I think I can do it, and I did all right. Like it wasn't bad.
No, it was good. I'll say it was good, right? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And then got the courage to do the Batman one. And other than those two, though, I hadn't done any other like recognizable realistic portraits. Yeah.
Well,
So-
that's super brave of you too to do, especially when no one around was doing portraits. I know for me, I was terrified to do portraits until someone was really making me do them.
Yeah, but like at least you had someone to like really help you who was really good at them. Like Monica, if you didn't have anybody to like watch over your shoulder, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
It was a little frightening, but I am super lucky though that like you guys hired me shortly after that, because I don't feel that my progression would have been the same that it is now.
Well, so can you talk a little bit like why you switch shops from where you, because you were somewhere else before us, and before that you were where you were for your apprenticeship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the switch from the apprentice shop to
the next shop.
Yeah. I feel like number one, I was ready to go somewhere else. But I think the owner of that shop did his best, and like I said, he worked a lot. He had a family, or has a family and stuff, but it wasn't necessarily in the environment that I wanted to be in.
Yeah.
I didn't agree with everything that was going on per se, just like, I guess, business wise, if that makes sense. And I felt uncomfortable working with some people.
Gotcha.
Me and my best friend Jade, who we were working there at the time, felt uncomfortable with some of the people, and we were like, you know what, let's maybe look somewhere else. Just not like, it wasn't anything like we wanted to do anything bad or mean to the owner and his place. It was just, it's just like, it's time for us to move on, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then we got jobs at the second shop at Legacy. And it was a little better as far as environments go. But I don't know, I feel like when you're talking about places kind of like those, there's always going to be one asshole there, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And clients too. And obviously it's a totally different kind of, tattoo shop, we're appointment only versus, a street shop. And we still get, not great clients sometimes, but I feel like with a street shop, it's kind of hard to control who walks in the door, and obviously more so to control what you're tattooing and yeah.
Yeah, especially like where that shop was located. You get all kinds of people coming in.
Yeah.
And it was next to a bar, so lots of drunk people coming in. Yeah.
Well, that was the first shop or the second shop?
Both of them, actually.
Okay, yeah, because I think you told me some stories about the first shop.
Yeah. Just people coming in wasted or high, and you got to kick them out,
Yeah.
It's not comfortable.
I don't miss working in street shops.
No. I feel like there are like a lot of street shops that are like they like really have their shit together and they're cool. But I feel like there's also to counter that, there's a lot that like you had to deal with stuff like that, and it's just not cool. Yeah.
Well, did you ever have a moment where like tattooing became something that was actually like achievable for you, as opposed to this dream that you're like, oh, I'll probably never do that? Because I mean, you're doing it now. Like you're a tattoo artist, and you're like a really good one. You know?
Well, thank you. That like when I started my apprenticeship, like I was like, this is what I want to do. Like I knew instantly like that this is the right path. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but one day I'm going to like be as good as someone like Deanna or Jay or Zach. Like so yeah, it was like instant. The second I started my apprenticeship, it felt right.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. So, talk about like when you wanted to apply to work with us.
The first post that I saw you make about, actually, I think you did a survey sort of thing on your story. You were like, if I open a shop, who would want to work for me?
Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah. And I was like, fuck yeah. And then I think you guys put out that you were hiring before COVID happened, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. And then I know I applied for that, which at the time I think you were just doing emails, right?
We didn't even have a location at that point, but we didn't know like what the timeline was going to be like, you know? And then obviously with COVID, it was like way longer than we ever thought it could be. But yeah, so we put out like a casting call like before COVID, and then also after COVID when we ended up finding the spot.
Yeah. So when COVID happened, I noticed that you guys didn't post anything about it. I was like, okay, maybe I'll just wait it out and see how this goes. And applied again. I sent another email and didn't hear anything. And then I think I applied like 2 or 3 times, and then you said you can actually click this link and fill something out and do it.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I was like, all right, this is the last time. Like, I'm going to do it. If I don't hear anything, it's because I fucking suck. Right. So, so I did it. And then I think like the next morning or shortly after that, you sent me an email like, hey, we'd like to interview. And I like shit my pants. I was like, fuck yes. Yeah.
Well, so I'll speak to that a little bit. You know, when we looked at your portfolio, I mean, it was mostly, you know, it was street shop walk-in tattoos, but there was 2 pictures in there, and you already mentioned the Thomas Shelby and the Batman, and both of those were like badass, like really like you nailed those. And so we were like, well, dang, like, well, maybe we can interview her and see if she's cool. And like, if she's like really about learning, like maybe that's enough to build off right there, because she clearly has a good foundation. And you were doing like, I actually think we even asked you to like send like walk-in tattoos, like just solid line work and stuff like that. And all that was solid. And so, yeah, I mean, I'll go on the record. I'll say like, you almost made us look like really silly for not like, you know, bringing you on immediately. 'Cause it was something that we did, you know, we had to think about just based on like what little was in your portfolio. Yeah. But man, I think that's one of the best decisions that we've ever made, is bringing you on, because like since day one, you've been such a hard worker. I've never seen you in a bad mood. Like you always have a great attitude. You never complain. And you just like, you're constantly like pushing yourself to be better and better. And like, you're the easiest person in the world to work with. And you're becoming like a really, really solid, really good tattoo artist. So
I can attest to that.
Yeah. So
I agree. Yeah. You were wonderful. And with those 2 portraits, definitely I was like, man, like there's potential there, like to really keep going and learn. And that's all you have been, you know, is someone who constantly wants to learn and ask me questions. And still, you know, you'll ask me about designs and stuff, and you eat it all up. Like information runs right inside of you, and you spew it out and into great tattoos. Like you really absorb everything and convert it. So yeah, we're really lucky that you decided to come work for us.
Yeah. And I say we were almost embarrassed because we did hire you eventually. It just took a while.
No, I'm so glad that and grateful that you guys did. It was like it literally changed my life when you guys hired me on. So thank you so much.
Of course.
Yes, I love my job.
Of course. And now you are someone who people, come out from all around to see
people are
and
flying
get
to you now.
tattooed. Yeah, flying to you, other states. You're sought out. So you're really it seems like you are on this road to where I feel like you wanted to be. Yeah. And it's really neat seeing you soar. So
well, thank you guys for having me and taking me on. Like I have no idea where I would be like in my career if you guys didn't hire me. So
is it ever humbling to like think about where you are now versus like when you before you started tattooing, you're like, I want to be a tattooer. Like, do you ever like take a step back to be like, dang, like, I mean, and we've talked about it so many times on the show. It's hard to be like, confident as an artist sometimes, but sometimes you objectively, I feel like, got to take a step back and say like, okay, this is where I am now. Like, do you ever do that? I mean, it's got to be a cool feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely, I think about that quite a bit. Like where I started versus now, like it's just like completely different. And I'm so glad to be like where I am now compared to like where I started. It's awesome.
Yeah. So, and obviously I feel like your portfolio has, well, I mean, it has. Your portfolio and your growth has been just exponential since you got here. And it was, it wasn't always like a quick start as far as like getting you exactly what you wanted to do, but it has been, I feel like, a really gradual progression to when you started doing like more black and gray realism, more portraits and stuff like that. And one thing that I really wanted to like talk to you and ask you about is your style now. So first of all, can you like describe like what a Monica Snyder fusion tattoo is?
It's just, I guess, a mixture of black and gray realism and color realism, but not traditional color realism.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
more like
a mix of Art Deco.
Yeah, like I try to give like just a different spin because I feel like nowadays and I feel like you hear people say this a lot too. Like it's hard to create something new, especially as a tattooer nowadays because of how saturated the industry is, especially like in major cities like Dallas. So I'm just try to do something a little different.
Yeah, and it's funny because when we first opened, you did a little bit of everything, but then you started to go towards like only doing black and gray. Like we weren't booking you too much color stuff. So this was kind of like a drastic spin.
Yeah.
Can you talk about like how you came up with this or like?
I mean, I always enjoyed like tattooing color.
Yeah.
Like I had done it before, but in a more neo-traditional fashion.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I started with you guys, I wanted to do just like black and gray realism, especially because I'm lazy and like only have to pour 2 caps for my black on black and gray.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I had done like a couple little like color flowers at Eden.
Yeah.
And I think you both had mentioned that I should maybe do some more color. And that
sounds right.
I remember when I mentioned it because you did this little sunflower tattoo and it was a sunflower with a stem, like a name in the stem or something, a word or something like that. And it was like a really little tattoo, but I was like, damn, like that's really good, and then every once in a while you do a color piece and I told you and I'm like, damn, like Monica does really good color too. And it's a cool, like, I think the way that you do it is cool. Like it's kind of like has that stipply look to it, kind of like the way that you do your black and gray. So, but can you talk about like, is there anything that inspired you to make those like first fusion designs?
I don't think there was like anything specifically other than just wanting to create something new. Like
Yeah.
it's just some new like flash pieces because I don't think I had done that in a while whenever I put these out. So I just wanted to create something new, do something a little different. And I think the first round of like fusion stuff that I didn't have like a super lot of color, maybe. Like that Cupid piece was mostly just black and gray. Like there was just like little hints of color in it. But yeah, I just wanted to make something new.
Yeah. I remember when I first saw those designs, I was like, I was getting tattooed by Rember that day, and we were like at dinner, and you have made a lot of pre-made designs in the past year, and you texted me, you're like, excuse me. You're like, hey, if I send you some pre-made designs, can we post them up? I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I remember seeing those, and there was 3 of them. It was that Cupid, and it was like the kind of red statue, and it was like that lady face. Which now you've done all 3 of those pieces, right?
Or well, I have the Cupid booked.
But it's
I have
booked.
it. I have it tattooed.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But I remember like losing my shit. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is so cool. We used our F-bomb. That was appropriate. Yeah. But I was like, what the fuck? Like, that is so cool. Like, I was so stoked. And it was a while before you got to do those pre-made designs. But I think, do you remember the first fusion piece that you actually did? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which one was it?
A red rose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like they've definitely come a long way since I started for sure. But I feel like starting with like the rose and the small flowers was a good way to start.
Yeah. Well, and especially our clientele, they love flowers. So that was a really good way to get that going. Mm-hmm. Now I was talking with James a little bit about it the other day. He said, I don't know if this is true. I haven't heard it from you, but he said you kind of had like a little bit of an epiphany when you were in Arkansas on your vacation.
I mean, no, not really. I don't think. I think it was just nice to have the time off. Yeah. To just like not think about work for a little bit. And because like I'm out, we're always,
especially
working.
You're always working.
Yeah. Because I prefer to design the night before. So like I go work all day and then go home and work. So it was nice to have that time just to like chill and just be with my little brother hanging out. And then I still had like 4 or 5 days at home after we got back, just to myself. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to smoke a little bit and then I'm going to draw a little bit. And that's what I did. I made those fusions. Yeah.
But do you think like that time off, that kind of just left you in a good headspace to be able to create like something new?
Yeah, definitely. Because I don't know, I didn't feel pressured. I don't have to do these tattoos tomorrow or anything like that. Like this is just for fun and what I want to do. Because I feel like you can sometimes get caught up, especially when you're doing, like when you're in the case that I was like doing some tattoos that you don't necessarily like they're not bad tattoos or bad ideas. It's just not what I want to do. Stoked about, yeah. So it felt nice to have like no pressure, just like create some fun stuff and see what happens.
Yeah.
It's really like when you can do like the coolest things, especially like even when drawing or sketching, when you have like your sketchbook, I feel like the coolest ideas come out when you have no pressure to do it for anybody and it's just for yourself. So that was a great idea. And it came out with something really sick. So.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any artists that you were inspired by to make those? Because I will say like, I really feel like you have created something like super unique, which I feel like it's really hard to say that about 99% of artists, but yeah.
Well, Chris Rigoni, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I could be butchering his name. Out of Australia, is like honestly probably like my favorite tattooer of all time.
Really?
Like
okay.
He's just like insane. Like it's crazy. So like I'll like be scrolling through Instagram. I'm like, I have to go back. So I'm like, I thought that was something like photoshopped on someone. Like, is that really a tattoo? But yeah, I kind of like wanted to do this thing where like, it was kind of like if him and like Harris tattooer and Deanna and Zach all had a tat baby, like
Yeah.
it would be these
That's
designs.
awesome. I love it. Yeah, I could see that influence. That's really cool. But it did come out as your design. And that's honestly like, even when someone creates a style out of nothing, it is still influenced from something that exists in the world, or, you know, a lot of times from other artists, and making it your own is what makes it your style. And that's what you did.
Yeah, but even though you're influenced by, Chris, when I look at that, I don't think like, oh, it's kind of like a Chris tattoo. Like they're different. I think that's the key, is like getting it different enough to when somebody looks at it, they're not like, oh, it's kind of like this other person. Because then that kind of like almost like, it's not, I guess it's not really like unique and original, if you can say that about it, So, but yeah, I mean, it's such a cool style. I'm so glad that you finally have been able to do like most of the pre-mates that you've designed.
Yeah.
I remember I was scrolling through Instagram the other day. You know how like when you open Instagram, sorry, I'm drinking a soda, so I'm burping a little bit. But you know how like when you open Instagram, sometimes like that first picture will pop up and like the screen will refresh and then like it'll be something else. Well, so I opened it and I saw like this fucking like vibrant like blue and yellow tattoo, and I was like, oh shit, that's cool. Like it must be like a Bobby Caparo or Chris Bergoni tattoo or something like that. And then I was scrolling through later and I saw that bull skull that you did, and I was like, that is fucking dope. Like, really, really cool. So yeah, I'm a huge fan. I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
What do you think is like the next step for that? Like, is there anything that you want to do to like kind of evolve that style even more?
Oh yeah, I feel like I definitely have a long way to go with it.
I mean, obviously you can get like more technically proficient and stuff like that, but what about like as far as like compositionally, like
that's what I mean. Like I think compositionally, I want to take it farther and see how it can evolve. Like even with the little that I've done so far, I definitely already see like a difference from like where I started to now. Just changing up some elements here and there, maybe taking a few things out, putting some new things in. Like, yeah, I definitely see the composition of them changing. I'm not sure exactly how yet, but
yeah. Well, that's the tricky part, right?
Yeah.
It's like figuring out what you want to do next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could do some of it on a bigger scale would be really cool. Like today, like you started on that back piece.
Yeah, the back.
Yeah, that's gonna be
I'm
so
excited
dope
for that.
Like, yeah, I am too. I'm too. A little scared because it's just there's so much area to cover.
Yeah. I just think it's so cool. I mean, artists that do have their own like specific style, it's cool to like ask them like, when did you start this? Like, how did you figure this out? And like that, I mean, we definitely could just be like experiencing it live with you right now. Like this could be the start of something that like goes on for a really long time and just keeps getting awesome. And like one day you're going to look back and be like, yeah, I was just got back from my vacation. My books were kind of thin. So I was like, yeah, I'll just try and make something, and just accidentally becomes this huge, awesome thing. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah, well, based on your Paramount progress, just over the past year, I can only imagine what the next year is going to bring. And we're really excited to see where 2 years and 3 years, what that's going to bring you. So
Me too. And I have to say thank you for all the help with my designs. Seriously, thank you. Of course. A lot of my designs wouldn't be what they are without you.
Well, I appreciate it. It's all you. You're doing awesome. So.
Thank you.
So you kind of already mentioned it earlier, but you said, you go home and draw. Can you talk a little bit about like how your design process works as far as like how you time stuff out? Like what you try to accomplish when you show up,
for my appointment.
Yeah. Just talk about like your design process. Like if I'm a client, I'm getting tattooed by Monica, like when's she working on my design? What is she working on? Et cetera.
Yeah. So I do all my designs the night before the appointment. I feel like it's not too far in advance that like, I feel like if I do it too far in advance, like I'm going to want to change it,
Sure.
I just take whatever, subject they're trying to get done and try to make it as cool as possible. I try to give it, some sort of unique element, whether it be just a couple of leaves or, something, because, doing a lot of realism, I feel like if you just do portrait, that's fine, but sometimes it's cool to add things with it. So, design everything the night before. Sometimes I struggle with it. Not all the time, but sometimes, you get that design and you've like drawn it like 50 times, but like, I definitely tell myself if it's like 1:30, like, and like I don't have anything, then I don't have anything. Like I'm not going to stay up all night to make this tattoo, because then I'll suffer the next day when I'm actually like doing the tattoos.
Sure.
But yeah, for the most part, it works out. I think on average, I probably spend 2 to 3 hours designing, because I feel like I can really take my time, and there's not like, I'm not pressured or anything like that. And I feel like that's really helped like push my designs, along with like your, like all of the tips and stuff that you give me. And just taking that and actually taking the time to just to sit there for a couple of hours and put these tips into practice. I feel like it pushes my designs, and when I show it to a client, I feel like I've gotten a lot less, well, I want to change this or I want to change that, like for the most part, I feel like when I show people my designs, they're like, yeah, this is cool, let's do it. So I feel like that has really helped, if that makes any sort of sense.
Yeah.
No, it does.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's a tough space to get to in and of itself, and like that's a skill, like talking to clients and like, and I think Deanna, you were just talking about it the other day, but a lot of it is just confidence and like the way you present that design to them. Like the more sure that you are of it, like, hey, this is what's going to get you the best tattoo right there. Like, the less they tweak it and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like that's what I was trying to get at. Like I'm more confident in what I have like done in those 2 hours with the design. So I feel like they're more like, yeah, let's do it.
I mean, in a way, it's kind of like walking into a test. Like if you're about to take that test and you're like, okay, I studied 12 hours this week, I know like the back of my hand, I'm going to crush it. Like you're probably going to do, I mean, obviously you're more prepared, but as opposed to like, if you just studied, crammed 30 minutes the night before, you're probably going in freaked out and everything like that. Yeah. So yeah, it is. I feel like it is a lot in that preparation. And Bobby was talking about that a little bit too. It's just like how much time like he spends on his designs. And you're also, I mean, you're like still doing art when you're doing that too. So like, that's just the more time you spend, like the more your skills are getting honed too. Yeah.
What he said about like being obsessed with it. Like I feel that on a personal level. I don't know about you, but like, I'm definitely like always like thinking about tattoos, like obsessed with it.
Yeah. Well, that's how you become better and better.
So I feel like most of your clients are awesome for the most part, but one other thing that's great about you is like you're so good at like working with clients, even when like I know like you've got to be a little bit frustrated, but I don't know if I've ever seen you like maybe like
flustered.
I've never seen you flustered. I've seen you like maybe like a little frustrated, but I've never seen you like flustered. How do you like just keep such a cool like head all the time?
I feel like for the most part, there's never been really a time. I mean, once or twice maybe, but there's never really been a time working at Eden where I felt like super, super flustered, like I couldn't handle a situation with a client per se. But I don't know. I feel like maybe I just put on a good face, because sometimes I feel like I'm screaming in my head because I'm like scared about either like not confident about a change or, something like that. Not that it's bad for clients to make changes. I don't want people to think that I'm saying that, but I don't know. I feel like worst case scenario at the end of the day, if something doesn't work out, like we don't have to do the tattoo, like, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've never really felt super like I don't keep it together or keep it together,
Yeah.
anything like that. Like it just feels pretty like easygoing for the most part when I'm talking to clients, unless someone like has an attitude with me. But like I said, like
I don't think that's
that
happened
doesn't
here.
happen.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
doesn't happen at Eden so far.
So, I mean, so you work hours at work and then you go home and then work more hours, you know, on the design. But I think what is so cool and inspiring about you is that you find the time to like better self in other ways. I want to talk about like your like fitness journey a little bit.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, I also work out after work.
Yeah.
That's been great. I love it. It's really helped me. I think we talked earlier about like getting into a routine.
Yeah.
Like that's like part of my routine now. And like, I feel like that helps keep me, I don't know. I want to keep doing it basically.
Yeah.
Like I really like, I've always liked working out, but like being in a good place, like financially, like we were talking about earlier, I feel like that helped me like with my mental state. It made me be like, oh, well, you know, you're moved out, you're your own person, paying your own bills. You don't have any excuses anymore. Like you can go to the gym now. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels really good to be able to do that.
Yeah. And you know, you always bring awesome meals into work. You cook a lot too. Yeah. Just like, you're just a really hard worker in like everything you do. And I feel like you do it so quietly. Like you never come in and you're like, oh, I did this and this and this last night. Like, honestly, I didn't know that you spent hours designing until like just now. I could have guessed, but like that's crazy that you've got that routine down and like your routine is like working your fucking ass off. Like that's really cool. And I don't think a lot of people like have the capacity to do that even, honestly. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I having the routine, like just having those set things to do, like it, I don't know. I don't usually feel like I'm super tired. You know, I mean, everyone has days where they're like, I feel like shit or I'm tired. But for the most part, like, I feel like having that routine and something to keep following makes it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like burnt out at all? Because it almost seems like for you, it's like the opposite. Like if you have that routine, it's just like a snowball effect. Like you're just going to keep going and keep getting better and keep grinding.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't know. I guess you have days like I had a day like a few days ago where it was one of those days where I actually did stay up too late doing a design. It was actually for that lion back piece.
Yeah, which is awesome.
I like
way,
redesigned it like 50 times, and I think I didn't go to bed till actually like 2 or 3 that night, and then I had to get up early for physical therapy the next morning. So I was just kind of like, you know, having one of those days and just super tired and not feeling it. And I'm sure that my coworkers probably heard me complaining about that a little bit, but I feel like everyone has those days no matter what, whether you have a routine or not. But I don't have too many of them, I guess. Like as long as I can do the things I need to do, then I'm happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, how do you stay so motivated to like work so hard at everything?
I don't know. I guess the proof is in the pudding. That's a saying, right? Like, so like me, like doing better with tattooing, like seeing my progress from where I started to where I am now, that makes me want to keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah,
because
totally.
obviously like it's working, like me doing the design process at night or asking Deanna like tips, like it's working. So I'm going to like keep doing that because I know that it's not all in vain. And
sure, yeah.
And like the same thing with like the weight loss and going to the gym.
I was going to say, I feel the totally same way about fitness. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I've lost 35 pounds. And so like it's not in vain. Like something's working.
Totally.
So I'm just going to keep doing it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
I'm glad you feel good.
I do. Yeah.
Do you ever have free time besides watching the boys?
Yeah, I do. Like on my off days, I'll have a little bit of free time when I'm not out running errands.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a free time. I like to hang out with my little brother and my best friend Jade.
Yeah.
I also like to just do nothing. I
Sure,
feel like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
a nice vacation for me. Just sitting there, being lazy feels great.
That's
Yeah.
my favorite thing too.
Yeah.
When working as hard as you do, it's also hard to have free time and not feel guilty at the
Yeah.
same time too. But
Yeah.
I think it's important to be able to like not do anything. I think that's also a sign of
Yeah.
like good or mental health that you're working
Yeah.
on, is being okay with being
Yeah.
by
like
yourself
having
doing
some
nothing.
balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I guess you really can't like go 100% all the time.
No.
Like it's just not possible.
I think I'd die.
Well, do you have any more? I know what the answer is because I remember last time you took a vacation, I had to tell you to take a vacation. But do you have any vacation plans coming up?
I actually was thinking about taking another vacation.
Okay,
Maybe.
well, that's a rhetorical question. I've seen your calendar. No, you don't have vacation coming up, but you should schedule something.
Yeah. We're going to that convention in August, and one of those days is going to be my brother's birthday. So
cool.
I was thinking of maybe doing something before then while he's on summer break. But
Nice.
if I do it, I'm going to have to decide real soon what I'm going to do.
Yeah, because you're almost booking at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if vacation is in my future.
Is there anywhere you want to go?
I want to go so many places. I really want to go to Hawaii. Any sort of beach would be nice, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no particulars.
Well, get planning.
Yeah. I need to.
So I ask everybody this, but like, where do you want tattooing to take you? Like, what are some of your, well, this is a two-part question. Like, what are some of your like shorter term goals? And then like, where do you
See yourself in 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, I recently reached one of my goals, which was to be booked out a couple of months. That's been a goal for me.
Yeah. And by the way, I just, for any artist out there, I feel like there's a difference between booking out like 2 months and booking out with like what you want to do, because you know, it's a business, it's supply and demand.
Yeah.
You can book out as far as you want, but being able to be booked out at a good rate and then being able to be picky about what you do, like that's a whole nother level. So like, I think it's really cool that like, not only are you booked out 2 months, but you're able, at this point, honestly, you're able to be really selective with the projects you're taking on. You know, it's pretty much only black and gray or only fusion. And that's like, that's hard to get to that point. Like it takes a while. And I think that's awesome that you're there.
Yeah, that was when you guys told me about that, I was like, nah, you're lying. But yeah, that was a goal. Not that it's bad to not be booked out. It feels nice to have a couple of months booked out. I feel like my next goal would be maybe like 3 months, you know, just like keep growing that. Long term, my goal is to be able to like travel all over and tattoo in the places that I travel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But other than that, I don't know. Like I don't have any dreams of like opening my own place or anything like that.
I remember like, I think for a long time you've been saying that you want to like travel and tattoo, you know, travel around. Is there anybody that you want to like tattoo with, or anybody whose shop you want to guest spot at, or?
I mean, there's so many places that would
Go
be
on. Yeah, do
so
tell.
cool. I mean, I actually, I'm surprised I haven't mentioned this artist's name, but, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but Whaler Montero.
Oh, yeah.
He's in Germany. He is also another like really big inspiration for my fusion
I
stuff.
can see that. Yeah.
Not even like working with him, like I could just like get tattooed by him. Like that would be so cool. And then I think you're actually going to do a guest spot at Thomas what is it? Noir.
Yeah, I was. And then I got bad insomnia. I was afraid to go to different time zones.
Oh no.
Well, at some point.
But still, like,
yeah.
that's super cool. Like, that shop's freaking awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's too many. There's too many. I have too many tattoo idols.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a bad problem to have. It's good to have inspiration.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, it's been super nice getting to know you and where you want to go and how you got here and to our shop. And yeah, we're just so happy to see you grow.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for being amazing bosses and friends. Like, I've said this a million times, like, I love my job and I love working with you guys.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, we love having you. And I was thinking about this the other day, but just, the way you work with just everything in your life, it's honestly like super inspiring. Like it inspires me, to like just grind at everything I do and just push myself to be the best that I can be. So, yeah, you're awesome. You're awesome to have around. We love working with you, and we're we're really glad we brought you on. Yeah, because it's been, man, has it paid off. It's like just been one of the best things that we've done. So, but yeah, thank you for taking the time to come over here and talk with us. Yeah, it was really great getting to hear your story and everything like that.
Yeah, it was nice to get to talk with you guys. Yeah. Sorry, I'm so awkward.
No. I think we're all a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you guys for listening as always. Follow us on Instagram if you haven't already at EdenBASPod. And yeah, thanks for listening. So
and Monica's Instagram.
Yeah, I've been saying at the beginning of the show. So, but if you're skipping to the end, follow Monica on Instagram at Monica Snyder _tattoos. Yeah. All right. That's really it. All right. Thanks for listening. Until next time.